Hey, what's up, everybody? The VZ here, coming back at you with another about anything and everything. That's what it's all about. All right, it's just opinion. It could be popular, or unpopular, but we all know it's common sense opinion. So that's what it's all about here. So you can find me here on Rumble and or YouTube, doesn't matter, or both. If you know, that'd be great. So anyhow, without further ado, we're gonna get to it here. I guess we're just gonna do like a roundabout, going around, taking a look at things that have been going on the last couple days, and so without, I've already said it again, but I'm just gonna say it again anyways. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right. I don't know if you guys remember this guy here, this little prick right here, going around flaunting and all that, talking shit. Says he was an influencer, trying to flaunt and try to show off about how he could get over on the system, and you can do it too. And he like blatantly, goes out of his way to blatantly show you how you could screw the system. Had his little anchor baby there and all that shit, and then it all came crashing down. It all got
At Firestone Complete Auto Care, we
bit him in the ass. All right. Damn, my volume's super high. Let me see here. Oh, no wonder I got blasted at 98. I was like, damn, what happened to the volume? How did I get blasted up that high? All right, let's try this now.
hold our service to the
much
highest
better, much
standard.
better.
That's why we have thousands of
I'm gonna
expert
use
ASC
Nate the
certified
lawyer's,
technicians nationally.
Hey, remember this story about the
This little
migrant
prick right here?
king, aka
Yeah. Hopefully you're okay with that, Nate the lawyer. I like your content, and it's fair use. Okay. And so, and I'm giving you credit too, because this is your stuff. But yeah, Nate the lawyer is a good dude.
the migrant
And this prick right here, fucking asshole, I would beat his ass.
influencer, aka Leonel Moreno.
Yeah.
In his most recent
Look at that
controversial
little
TikTok
prick.
video,
Punch him in the
Moreno was
face.
telling his followers to avoid living on the streets in the United States. They can, quote, invade empty homes and live there, saying under U.S. law, if a house is uninhabited, it can be seized, referring
I'll
to
beat his
squatting
ass,
rights in
little
our
pissant
country.
piece of shit.
That video garnered almost 4 million views.
Well, that guy has now been officially deported back to
Yeah, get the
Venezuela.
fuck out of here. Hey, little bitch ass. That's right. Get the fuck out of here. And borders closed, you
So
can't
the
come
man
back.
you see on screen is Leonel Moreno. He is a Venezuelan migrant. Now, Moreno entered the United States on April 23, 2022, claiming he needed asylum from the country of Venezuela. Now, Moreno was not deported back to Venezuela, but allowed to stay in the United States. Now, after crossing to the United States, Moreno and his wife went into Canada. Now, when Moreno and his family got to Canada, Canada didn't provide them with hotels or asylum support like they do in places like New York, where they give you credit cards and free hotel stays.
Here's something we followed a lot. Cash grab for migrants. New York City officials dramatically expanding a contract.
I mean, look, New York gave you debit cards, California gives you health insurance. All these sanctuary cities give you something of a perk to stay. And the U.S. is paying for it, right? You have a place to live, place, to eat. You're given everything to just live in the United States. I mean, why wouldn't anybody not want that if the house is paying for your stay, right? Shit. It's almost like you're being comped, all right, at a hotel, right? Sometimes, if you're a baller at a hotel or whatever, they comp for your stay, right? It's kind of like that, except you're not a baller. They're just comping your stay here.
Controversial program, which would give another round of prepaid debit cards to 7,300 migrants over the next 6 months, costing the city upwards of $2.6 million. Now, the program previously gave these cards to 3,000 migrants.
Yeah, so Moreno's like, Canada is not looking out for us like they are in the U.S. Hell, they're just giving out money down there. So he brought his family to the United States from Canada. Imagine that. Canada wasn't good enough for Moreno. he wanted to get back to the US of A. So Moreno and his wife came back. In their interview with Immigration and Customs Enforcement Service, they said that they had crossed over into 12 different countries before reaching the United States. Now, after being released into the United States, Moreno was enrolled in ICE's Alternative to Detention program. Now, this requires him to report to the Enforcement and Removal Operations Office within 60 days of arriving, and then he would have to get a hearing about his asylum claim. Now, Moreno, however, disappeared and never showed up to any of the hearings or any of the appointments. So he was deemed an illegal immigrant. Now, Moreno gained a huge following on TikTok and Instagram and encouraged migrants to start doing some crazy things, like invade people's homes. He said that you can squat in abandoned homes and take them over. You don't have to live on the streets, and it's America. So Americans are too stupid to do anything about it.
An influencer on TikTok appears to be trying to put others on game on how to take over U.S. homes and use squatters' rights. Leonel Moreno, who appears to be a Venezuelan migrant, posted a video to the platform telling followers in Spanish, if a house is not inhabited, no one's living there, we can seize it. How much weight does this claim hold?
Now, because we're Americans, and because even if you come here illegally, we don't want you to starve on the street with your family, the government gives you benefits. They'll give you food stamps. They'll give you some money for housing. They'll give you welfare benefits. And Moreno enjoyed all of those benefits. Matter of fact, he made videos flaunting all the benefit he gets from the federal government as an illegal migrant.
Moreno regularly shares on social media how he scams the system to receive money from the federal government, food stamps, and shows his social security card in posts that we've reviewed. He claims that his wife and daughter receive $350 a month from the federal government, often flaunts the food and aid that they receive through the funding from these federal programs.
Now, as you can see, Moreno is living the good life on American taxpayer dime. And we haven't even talked about the money he's making off TikTok.
It's funny because, like the way he was just so blatant. I don't know how he wouldn't think it would ever bite him in the ass. I don't know. I just don't get that. It could just go on in perpetuity. No, I mean, this stuff was going to catch up to him, and it was just funny how. I guess in his own mind, he wouldn't have expected that, which is pretty stupid.
He was making so much money, he decided to show people how stupid the American system is. He can make thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on social media and still get welfare benefits and throw it in everyone's face because we, as Americans, are reportedly stupid.
Es que yo facture más que ustedes.
Punch him in the face.
Sin necesidad
Every time I see that stupid face,
de
I
andar
just want to
como
knock him in the face.
esclavos. Capichi, esa es la diferencia tuya y mía. Que yo siempre voy a hacer dinero sin mucho trabajo.
Then, even after that, Moreno started flexing his Second Amendment rights because he was in the U.S.
Because he ended up getting guns and all that, I think. Purchased a firearm, something like that. I recall seeing that.
Here is where things fell apart. See, Moreno isn't a citizen, and unfortunately for him, he doesn't have Second Amendment rights. See, remember how earlier I told you how when Moreno came into the country, they gave him 60 days to check in, and he didn't check in, so now essentially he was illegally here and on the run. Now, for those of you who love the Second Amendment, you know that there are two groups of people who cannot own firearms or even possess firearms in the United States. Those are illegal immigrants and felons.
Mi gente, como ciudadano americano, puedo obtener un arma. Capichi. Y bueno, he estado pendiente de comprarme un R15 o una glotona. Capichi. Miren los precios, papi, de esta belleza. $1,000, $700, $600. $800 y $500. Miren esta preciosura, muchachos. Les recuerdo que en Estados Unidos tienes que andar armado por tu seguridad, como les seguía diciendo.
I've never seen this footage of this before, so
Solamente nosotros, los ciudadanos americanos, podemos portar armas en Estados Unidos, con licencia y con prevención. Le voy a mostrar este tipo de armas que son las glotonas, pero miren lo que tengo por aquí. Las armas largas. Las puedes obtener en una tienda normal como esto ahorita. Ya me dieron mi propaganda y miren.
And on top of that, Moreno was on parole because he never checked in with ICE. So they were after him. Now, the United States has what's known as the Gun Control Act, which prohibits people on parole, like Moreno, from possessing, shipping, transporting, or even receiving firearms or ammunition. So all these pictures of Moreno possessing firearms and ammunition didn't go down real well with the feds. So it seems like an open and shut case for the feds. We got someone who's here illegally, continuously breaking laws. Let's just put a warrant out for his arrest and deport him. So that's what the feds did, and Moreno didn't like that too much. Matter of fact, he went on Instagram and started begging for mercy.
I remember this.
En peligro de muerte en United
fucking
States.
bitch. Little bitch. Look at that.
Necesito
Fuck you, fuck you, triple fuck you. Fucking bitch.
Persiguiendo.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Me han bloqueado mi cuenta.
Zero
mi
sympathy.
cuenta parece de secciones
Leaving.
abiertas en Nueva York. Y yo no estoy
Oh
en
man, what a
Nueva
whiner.
York. Mi gente,
Fuck outta here.
necesito
Oh.
que estén pendientes de lo que está pasando.
Oh man.
Porque
I don't know
mi
why that
familia
baby's not
corre
annoyed, man. That baby
peligro.
should have been annoyed too, man.
Corre mucho peligro, muchacho. Me borraron la cuenta de TikTok y la otra también.
Yeah. Fake tears, fake tears.
He
Fuck you.
recibido muchas amenazas de gente poderosa,
Good.
muchacho.
Good. You need to get your ass beat.
Muchacho, ayuda, por favor.
Fuck you,
Mi
man.
familia está en peligro.
No one cares.
Muchacho, por favor, ayúdeme.
No one cares. Fuck you. Ugh. So
Es
annoying.
increíble, muchacho, pero sí.
Yeah, scared to get back
Hay
to your home
gente
country.
buscándome y quiere hacerme daño y a mi familia.
Now, this is where things get
Oh,
complicated.
man.
See, Moreno was scheduled to be deported under President Joe Biden, but there was a problem. See, Venezuela stopped accepting any deportees from the United
That
States.
didn't last very
even if
long.
it came through Mexico, for instance. So even though Moreno had done all these horrible things, they couldn't deport him to Venezuela because Venezuela wasn't taking anybody back.
That didn't
Then
last
President
very long.
Biden goes out, Trump comes in, and Venezuela had a change of heart.
We move on now to the immigration
I was gonna say,
crackdown.
yeah, that didn't last very long.
Venezuela is set to resume accepting U.S. deportation flights. This is after the Trump administration sent hundreds of Venezuelans to a notorious prison in El Salvador. And as the administration remains
Oh
locked in
man,
a
I wish that dude was sent to El Salvador. Oh, that would have been cool, man. Because just to show him a taste of his own medicine, you know. If you want to do all that, man, get thrown into one of the worst places. All right, that would have been great to see.
standoff with a federal judge over the issue.
Tonight, Venezuela resumes accepting U.S. deportation flights, reversing course after the Trump administration invoked a wartime law from 1798 to deport hundreds of Venezuelan migrants with little or no due process.
Imagine
those migrants
that
now
prick
in a notorious prison in El Salvador.
doing this.
Venezuela's government saying, "We will not rest until we achieve the return of all those in need and rescue our brothers kidnapped in El Salvador."
Okay, so Venezuela turned around and said, we're going to take our people
All of a
back.
sudden.
Now let you send them to an El Salvadorian prison. So one of the first flights and one of the first people was our boy, the Migrant King. He was on the first thing smoking back to Venezuela.
He should feel lucky that he got returned back home and not El Salvador.
Ahora, lo que ocurre es que con ese caballero mucha gente estaba disgustada de los que venían en el vuelo, porque su campaña fue para que los venezolanos fuesen señalados en el mundo de ser delincuentes. De muchos de los que estaban allí venían bravos. Desde el primer momento una seguridad especial aparte lo pusieron porque estaban muy disgustados los otros pasajeros, los otros compañeros que venían. lo que hemos dicho, ojalá que se reencuentren, entren en lo que de alguna manera tiene una conducta que no es la mejor, se recuperen espiritualmente y sean capaces de comenzar de nuevo. Eso es posible si son recibidos amorosamente en sus casas de familia. Y sus familias están acá para ayudarlos.
Yeah, good riddance. I just had to play this whole thing. I mean, because like couldn't help it. It was so good.
Moreno had to be put in protective custody because the other migrants who were being deported with him blamed Moreno for bringing attention to the whole migrant crisis and getting Americans so upset where they were all being deported out of the country. Now,
That's
while
actually
in
pretty
jail,
funny.
the New York Post spoke to Moreno, who wailed about being unjustly persecuted here in the United States. They quote him as saying, "I came here to the United States because of persecution in my country, Venezuela. But they're doing the same thing to me in the United States, persecuting me," Moreno moaned. Moreno continued, "It's all misinformation in the media about me. They're defaming me. They're misrepresenting me in the news. I am a good father, a good husband, a good son, a good person, humble, respectful to people who respect me," he added. So what do you feel about the story of Moreno? Now, his wife and child are still here in the United States while he is in Venezuela. So, how does that fit into how you feel about this story?
Hey, man, if you're a good husband, a good, father, all that stuff, you would find a way to fund their funds to bring them and be united with you in Venezuela.
Personally, I think Moreno is a victim of his own success. He wanted to be a TikTok star. He wanted to be a YouTube star. He did all this. He got the attention, but unfortunately, it was negative attention. And when he started making fun of this great country, helping him and his family, feeding them, then I think he had to go back to Venezuela. And his argument that he's being persecuted here is not accurate. He came here illegally, he committed multiple crimes while here, and now they're sending you back home. So I don't know what more he wants. Now, I know my friends on the left are going to say, well, they broke up this family. His wife and kids have lost their father. But I think about it differently. I'm thinking if he was really concerned about his family, he wouldn't have been out there telling people to invade other people's homes. He wouldn't be having guns knowing that it's illegal for him to have guns. And I don't think he'd be on TikTok bragging about all the money he's making because of the stupid Americans. That will get you deported. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great.
And again, if he's a good husband and good father and all that, you would, fund the flights to get your family back united with you in Venezuela. All right, so good riddance to this moron. I'm glad he's gone. I wanted to, every time I see that, I always want to punch him in the face. Every time I see that face. So yeah, good riddance. I hope I don't never see him again. Except him crying in Venezuela, that's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? Look at these clowns over here. Look at these clowns.
Listen up. If you've been injured in a recent car accident, what you do next can make or break.
Ditching degrees, Columbia
alum,
mistake I see
alumni,
people that graduated, rip up diplomas and protested talks with the White House.
More pro-Hamas protests breaking out at Columbia University today, just after the Ivy League's interim president.
Right, and then even though they rip up their diplomas, they're going to be the ones underhandedly going to send in request forms and stuff and ask for a duplicate copy later on. Watch, because they're morons.
Resigned over the funding fight with the Trump administration.
Fuck out of here, man.
CB Cotton is live at Columbia University with the latest. Hey, CB.
Hi, Nicole. Will it cost anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000 a year to attend Columbia University? But, despite that sort of investment, a group of graduates came here today to denounce their time at the elite school by ripping up their diplomas.
Oh, wow.
Recently, Columbia began revoking the degrees of student protesters. Well, you can have mine back whenever you want.
Is that Orlando Bloom? Looks like Orlando Bloom.
These protesters are upset over the ongoing negotiations between the White House and Columbia as the Ivy League tries to get back hundreds of millions in federal funding pulled by the Trump administration, which said Columbia failed to protect Jewish students during the ongoing protest over the Israel-Hamas war.
Don't bust me over that shit.
Dr. Katrina Armstrong, who helped lead these negotiations, is now stepping down and returning back to her old job with the Ivy League. It comes after a series of reports about closed-door meetings students, where faculty were left concerned that Armstrong was presenting one message to the White House while internally downplaying the policy changes to colleagues. Armstrong, she tried to save face, calling those reports unequivocally false, but it appears it was not enough. And now Board of Trustees co-chair Claire Shipman has been named the acting interim president, and Columbia says she'll serve until the board completes its presidential search. She's a former TV journalist and co-author for several books on women's empowerment. Her husband is Jay Carney. You may remember he's the press secretary for former President Barack Obama. Now, the chaos for Columbia's leadership comes as Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia graduate and pro-Palestinian activist, remains behind bars in Louisiana. DHS says he led activities aligned with Hamas here at Columbia. His attorneys, though, deny that allegation. Back to you, Nicole.
Just look at the video footage.
Do we know
video
what
everywhere.
the Trump administration
These
demands were that the university actually agreed to that kind of is starting or sparking these protests?
I think every day is like a get the fuck out of here type of videos, right?
New mask ban,
like, come on.
New protest
what the hell's going on around here, man? People don't have common sense.
With the power to arrest or remove some of these student protesters, Columbia University agreed and made these concessions, because what we saw during a lot of the protests last year is that some of these students and even outside agitators would come on campus and they would hide behind these masks and commit acts of violence in some cases, especially towards
is so 2020.
On campus, leaving students, Jewish students especially,
who wears masks
very
anymore?
Scared.
Hey, CB, let me ask you about the change. I know we read that there was a change in leadership over at Columbia, and the new interim president is someone that I think a lot of people who watch TV news in particular may be familiar with. What can you tell us about that change at the top?
There's going to be some resistance because Jay Carney worked under Obama. It's not going to be an easy road to fulfill just simply bringing a university back to standards and not be so extreme. How about that, you know?
Well, Claire Shipman, yes, she has been named the new interim president here at Columbia. And right now, negotiations are still going on between the Ivy League and the White House. So she will step up to help lead those negotiations now. And what we do know is that the federal task force to combat anti-Semitism released a statement just yesterday saying that they feel the Board of Trustees took the right step by naming her, especially when it came to light.
Yeah, but she's going to be the one that's going to order, you know, like I said, she's going to go online later on and order another one. Be like, hey, I need one for my job. I need one.
And media reports that the previous interim president, Katrina Armstrong, might have been presenting a different image privately about how she felt on these concessions.
CB, Lisa Booth here. Well, first of all, you've done such a great job covering all these protests. We saw some of the protests last year. They became violent. How do those compare to what you've seen
nothing but theater. A graduate can always ask for another copy. Yeah, I
would say the tone is definitely
that's why I said don't bust me up with that shit. She's gonna
this year, and for
she's gonna on the camera be like, yeah, standing strong, and then next thing you know, she's gonna go later on and go request for another copy later.
All the criticism that the Trump administration has taken about its crackdown on these protests, it appears it has worked in the sense of bringing the temperature down on campuses across the country. Whether you agree or disagree with the crackdown, we are noticing that when protests do happen, especially here at Columbia University, the tone is it's been de-escalated, and we're seeing less acts of violence.
Hey, CB, really?
And that's fine. You know, protesting like that is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to act out, you start burning flags and smashing windows and, you know, doing all kinds of stuff that shouldn't be happening in a so-called peaceful protest, then that's a problem, right? But when what she just described is happening in protest, hey, that sounds good to me. There's nothing wrong with that.
Quickly, I understand that some of the family members of the hostages held in Gaza are suing. What are they alleging?
So they are accusing some of these pro-Palestinian groups of spreading Hamas propaganda. And in one specific allegation, they accuse one of the pro-Palestinian groups. They allege this group had prior knowledge of the October 7th Hamas attack. Obviously, that's a very serious allegation.
Stretch.
My colleague Alexis McAdams reached.
I don't know. That's a stretch there. I can see why they're suing. I think it's coming from the heart. But when you think about it, it's like, to me, it's a stretch. And I'm not trying to defend Hamas or whatever, but to say that the protesters and stuff knew in advance that this was going to happen, I don't know. It's a stretch to me. That you're already insinuating that these people are already, domestic terrorists, or I guess foreign terrorists inside domestically. I don't know. It's a stretch, which is, to me, is crazy. I think they're really suing in their heart, but not really thinking about why they're suing in that way. And I don't even know if you could actually sue for that reasoning.
Out to that group. She has not heard back to my knowledge, but this is a story to watch here because we know the Trump administration is taking these ongoing demonstrations very, very seriously with the goal of protecting Jewish students and making it an environment where everybody can learn of all faith backgrounds.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't get, I've never understood, going back in history, like, why does Jewish people get the bad rap? In terms of just like the anti-Semitism, you're going back to the early times of biblical times, to the Nazi camps and all that, to present day with still continuing anti-Semitism here and there. I don't get all that, why they get so persecuted. I just never understood it. I don't know. I just never understood it. I just don't get it, to me. But at the same time, what these students doing at campuses across the United States is still wrong in terms of doing what they're doing, and they're sending a wrong message with supporting terrorism with Hamas and all that. So yeah, I mean, when the list goes on and on, let's see. Trump admin revokes 300 plus student visas. Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. You do this stuff right here that they're showing in the background, right? Then you could do that in your own country. I mean, and support away all you want. You want to support Hamas? Yeah, just go back to, Palestine or whatever, Gaza if you want to, and then there you go. You can support with all your flags and burqas and all that stuff, and with your signs there, free Mahmoud and free Palestine and all that stuff, right? You could do, party away all you want, all right? This is incriminating here for Karen Bass. Let me see
Breaking
here.
news. The LA mayor's office
more clown show. Get the fuck out of here. Bullshit, right? She needs to go, too.
This is Karen Bass's text during the fire disaster. What messages were sent as the Pacific Palisades burned?
Good evening. Welcome to Fox 11 News at 5. Simulcast on Fox 11 and Fox 11 Plus. I'm Alex Michelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo has been pressing the mayor on this issue from the beginning. She joins us now live downtown.
This guy is a character. I like this guy. He's good. He's real good, especially when he's digging for answers. Like, he really pushes the envelope, right? She's kind of milfy. I'm kind of growing onto this one here. Milfy, you got the jugs, everything.
Christy.
Yeah, Christine, we've been trying to get the text messages for more than 2 months. We were told that they had been auto-deleted by her phone, but the city was able to recover them, and we got them a little over 2 hours ago. And what they show is that
nothing ever goes away forever. You can always find it, especially in technology. You can always find it.
As the Palisades fire was raging and the mayor was at a reception in Ghana and later on a plane, she received messages from the White House, U.S. senators, mayors from other cities, as well as her staff. The first message from Celine Cordero, the mayor's deputy chief of staff, comes in about 11:48 a.m. our time. The mayor is still in Ghana. Cordero texts on phone with Chief Crowley now. 2 significant fires in city now. She will call you, Mayor. Hollywood, Pacific Palisades, potential evacuations, significant resources, 40-mile winds, 100 acres affected in the next 20 minutes. Cordero follows up less than an hour later with a group chat. Palisades fire is now 200 acres. An evacuation order is being prepared to go out. The Palisades Recreation Center will be used as an evacuation center. Governor will be at command post in 2.5 hours. Crowley said homes will be lawsuit. Crowley and I meeting at EOC in a minute. She also texts 25,000 people expected to be evacuated in city thus far. Then just before 2 p.m., the county supervisor who represents the Palisades, Lindsay Horvath, writes, reaching out about Palisades fire, I understand our county fire department is supporting, and our Office of Emergency Management has been in touch with city staff. Also, do you need additional help support? Anything you want to put on our radar at this time? The mayor responds, thanks for asking. I think we are good. I'll call you in the AM. At about 8 p.m. our time, Cordero's text messages get much more dire. She writes, we will be expanding the evac zone all the way to the Santa Monica city limits and all the way to the top of Mandeville Canyon. About 2.5 hours later, she writes, from LAFD, approximately 3,000 acres of burn, possibly more. All aircraft grounded due to wind and visibility. Evac orders to border of city of Santa Monica. Multiple civilian victims injured. TBD. Press conference at 8 a.m. at Zuma Beach. By then, the fire had exploded. Cordero writes, LAFD update from Pacific Palisades. The winds have increased significantly with gusts in the Palisades above 70 miles an hour. Fire department is essentially in life-saving mode, and structures are a secondary concern at this point. Unofficial estimate is 200 homes burned. Our deployment stands at 6 plus 72, and we are in the process of swapping out day watch for night watch. Now, some of the text messages were redacted, and we don't know what conversations were had by phone. We do know that the mayor had access to a military phone while she was on that flight back from Ghana. But I can tell you, at least from the text messages that we have seen so far,
sounds like she got them.
It seems like the first mention of water in the Palisades was not made until the morning of January 8th, and that's when the mayor got a text message from the CEO of the LADWP apologizing for missing her call. She also sent a very lengthy text message, but she did say we were able to open refill stations from our system for fire engines, and we sent all our water trucks to Palisades to give them more sources of water. The mayor wrote back, this is great news, thank you, landing in 4 hours.
I know you've all had the conversation up here about your perfect website. Now it's time to have that same conversation with Wix.
Yeah, I don't know. This is stupid. People are just stupid. Karen Bass, I think Karen Bass tries to play us.
The Tesla takedown protesters march.
Like we're clowns and dummies and all that, right? Like, really? You know, and when you look at what's happening or what had happened, it's like, you know, I don't know, it's just laughable. How these Democrats try to play us like we're all stupid, and we're not. I mean, you know, it's so easy right there that Karen Bass got to go. All right, so Karen Bass got to go. I just wanted to look into that. Look at this. Audit finds billions in LA homelessness funds mismanaged. I mean, are we not surprised? This is LA. This is Karen Bass. All right, are we not surprised? I'm not. You know, so I mean, it just goes on and on. You know, like what else, right? Mismanagement of fire, mismanagement of homelessness, mismanagement of everything. It's just everything. All right. Come on.
That's right. This was Karen Bass and the head of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisor, Catherine Barger, in federal court. This was yesterday, where the court said they didn't know, based on analysis, where any of the money was going. Now, Judge David Carter.
Sounds like Gavin Newsom, like spent billions, $24 billion for homelessness in California, which got worse. And we don't know where did the money go, where did it happen? We didn't track it, and that's it. Like. No repercussions. You don't get fired. There's nothing. No, nothing.
Hearing with LA Mayor Bass.
I would love to get away with that. I would love to get away with mismanaged funds and be like, I don't know what happened to it, and nothing happens to you. You know, you just walk away and live your life.
The chair of the Board of Supervisors Carter, who's been active in the search for answers to the homeless problem in LA and Orange County, recited a history of poor oversight, inaccurate accounting, unclear metrics, and untrustworthy results. 2 studies pointed to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, LAHSA, as a source of problems. The most recent study, $2.3 billion, found that documents provided by the agency were so poor that it made it tracking the spending nearly impossible.
There's chicken scratch on a sheet of paper.
Supervisor Barger today said the judge is right.
When I heard in court that LAHSA wasn't providing transparency, was not providing receipts and all, I was angry. And if I'm angry, I can only imagine how the judge felt. So I believe this is the first step toward doing exactly what the judge wants. And the system is the county. The buck stops with us.
On Tuesday, the board will...
And, you guys won't figure out a way to take out the people that are responsible for mismanagement. You guys won't try to figure out how to recover the funds back. And we just continue to just live life and nothing's going to happen from it. Same old bullshit. All right. When you have Democrat leaders running the show, this is what you get.
Vote to bring back the tax money that it takes in for homeless services and manage it themselves. They believe it will result in greater accountability than the LA Homeless Authority. The judge says he's losing patience. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
That's it, huh? I'm losing patience. Nothing's going to happen from it, It's just sad. And more get the fuck out bullshit. Maine defies Trump's order on transgender athletes, and so they're going to take on the risk of losing federal funding because Maine is trying to be a difference maker, right? They want transgenders, they want boys to compete with girls, right? Which is something that been fought forever about trying to keep men out of women's sports. So why even have this thing? If you're going to allow transgender to compete in women's sports, why even have a gender division at all? Just might as well just let everybody compete together. You have male, female, transgenders, all have at it, right? And then once you see that real men dominate and destroy fake women like transgenders, and of course they dominate women, then maybe we'll get some sense back into sports and all that once again, and allow things to proceed. All right, so man, all I gotta say, look at this: extra police on patrol in Chicago to handle teen takeovers, because there's been a lot of that going on. All right, that's something we haven't talked about yet, but we're gonna come back and talk about that in another video. But I just wanted to just cover the tomfoolery, right? The bullshit that's going on here, and go from there. Comment down below, let me know what you think. I think we had enough for today. Subscribe to the Villain Club, or you could, follow me on Rumble, whatever is great for you. And I want to say thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.